Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Regardless of where you are in the world, we are so happy to have you with us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Our show today is The Wise Ones. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. I am the president and founder of this fabulous network that we started January 10th, 2022. Please do consider joining our team. You can email me at drjacalyn.com for more information. Let's get straight away to the show. My co-host and dear friend, he's also my book coach. He's a mentor. He is someone who is certainly quite accomplished in so many areas, from professional business to his personal life. He really, truly is a wonderful person. His name is Red O'Loughlin. Let's bring him out to the show. Welcome, Red.
Hey, Dr. JACALYN, good to see you again. You're looking remarkably well today.
You know what I say? Thank you. I'm the healthiest sick person that I know. Thank you so much. I'm having a good day. I appreciate it. And thanks for taking us with you while you're traveling, Red. I appreciate it. Where in the world are you?
This is my first out-of-town USA Global TV and Radio Network show. I'm in Mobile, Alabama. Back in the early 70s, I was with the Patrol Squadron 6 in Hawaii, and that was my first active duty squadron. We flew missions all over the Pacific, out of Vietnam. I spent about 6 months flying out of Vietnam, Thailand, and Philippines and other places around there, up to Japan and stuff. But our mission there was surface surveillance. We take off, and literally just a little bit before daylight, and 5-10 minutes later, we're out there in what we call rigging ships. We fly by both sides and the back of the ship, take pictures and annotate along the direction, speed, and if they had any cargo on deck, we take pictures. But we were out there mainly for two purposes: to identify communist bloc vessels going into Haiphong and take a look at any deck cargo they had, but more importantly, to identify infiltrator trawler activity from North Vietnam to the south. And if we found something there, we were allowed one pass. We took a Polaroid with a 400 millimeter camera, and then we'd stand off about 10 miles and keep it on radar. If we confirmed that's what it was, then that particular vessel was tracked. And if it started going up the Mekong, it was usually destroyed at that point in time. But we did that month after month, fly all day long until it got too dark to see a boat, and then we headed back and landed. So that was my mission back then. The squadron that I'm with now, I mean the squadron reunion that I'm with now, are people from that era, some going back even to, in fact, I talked to a guy today. He was there, I guess, in the 50s, back when they were flying P2s. And so just a lot of people. We even have a 3-star admiral who was a commanding officer way back when. He's there at our event today. So a lot of people got a chance to spend some time with them last night. So anyway, it's one of those things we do in the military. Is when we have reunions, we get a chance to circulate and renew some camaraderie, and it's just having a good time.
Well, I'm so glad that you're there doing what you're doing, and thank you as always for your service, and thank you for your positive energy and all your expertise on longevity. You will be heading up your own talking head session right after this on post-pandemic health, episode 7. So please do stay tuned for that right after this show. So Red, as you know, we have a fabulous guest backstage, and I found out from him, I think last week, the first time I met him on the business talk show, that you and he are connected. Tell us a little bit about how the two of you met.
A long time ago, before I got reinvigorated my passion with chemistry and researching the human body at the cellular level, looking for cause and effect relationships, I was into motivation. I had retired from Halliburton back about 2007, I think. And I'd written a book in that area. I was going around speaking at my mentors' events, selling CDs in the back of the room. And one of the events through networking I met was Dr. Tamir Qadree. And Tamir, I think we met at, I can't think of the name of the event right this minute, but we've been at more than one. We had a chance to, sit down, chat, know each other. And I think I even did a 60-minute CD with him where we were talking about various aspects of, self-improvement, self-motivation. How do we get more out of our lives? And he has been kind of a super expert on self-esteem and how do we translate that to bettering our lives. And Tamir is one of those really neat guys that you run into every so often that you say, I really need to stay in touch. And somehow in between a lot of things happening, we disconnected. And then as I was looking for a potential audience for this show, I'm coming across things and, Tamir, why not? Perfect guy for this. So I reached out to him and sure enough, he signed up. And apparently he's been on the USA Global TV and Radio Network more than I ever suspected. So anyway, so let's welcome Dr. Tamir Qadree.
Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's nice to have you back. And by the way, I have to say for the Dean of Dynamic Results that you were a real powerhouse yesterday on the Woman Show. He was on A Woman's Prerogative, Red, the first man we've had on the show. He was a fabulous guest, and he is welcome back anytime.
I can believe he'd be a fabulous guest on that show. I really can. He's got a dynamic smile, a great personality. Why would he not fit in that show?
Well, thank you. Dr. Tamir, what were your thoughts about being on A Woman's Prerogative before we start with the interview?
I was very, very excited. The subject just grabbed me, a woman's prerogative. I mean, like I always tell people, I come from a woman, a very good woman, came out of her womb, so I appreciate Mother Nature and the power that women bring to the table. It's one of my things. If you know me personally, you'll know that's one of my passions. It really is. Some of my best students and best supporters are women.
Well, thank you so much. And again, it was just such a fabulous conversation. We had people from all over the world and the time just flew by. So now today we're on the wise ones, and you are quite wise yourself in the short time that I've come to be able to interview you. I think this is our fourth interview. I've really been impressed with your heart-centricness, the way you live your life, what you've overcome, and your mindset. And I mentioned to you yesterday that I was really jazzed up about some of the things that you said. And right after the show, I got a fabulous email with great news. And I was like, yeah, it was because of the doctor. So thank you again for that positive energy.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Fantastic. So when you think of the wise ones, what comes to mind for you?
That's an easy one for me. I think of those who have been through, who have traveled the path and who really have something tangible that people can use and better their lives. That's what I think of. Someone that's really tread the path. Someone that's not just talking from what they heard or what they read and give you some feel-good juice. The wise one signaled that to me. Someone who's actually walked the walk, talk the talk, and actually do the do. They're in the game. That's what I think about.
Thank you. Red, comments?
I want to know how you got involved, how you transitioned from the old Qadree to Dr. Tamir, and you're now improving people's lives. What made that transition in your life? What was your life before, and what prompted that transition?
That's a long story. I'll make it very short. Long story, make it very short. I've read, and Doctor, I've always been, believe it or not, from a time I can remember, a motivational, self-help, deep thinker, wanting to make a difference in the world guy. I've always been like that. And the irony about it, I was born in a very underprivileged neighborhood in Chicago, lived in a house with 13 people, including my parents, sometimes 14 and 15 people, with neighbors and relatives and cousins. We only had 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. My mom somehow kept it clean. She insisted on the house smelling like pine saw and bleach. We ate every day. I don't know how she did it. We were packed in, but we didn't know it. It was during a rough time in the early 70s, late 60s, a rough time. But being a child, I didn't understand that. I did know that I wanted something different in my life. versus the mediocre existence that we had. And so I came here with that package. One real quick story. I talked to a lady that knew me when I was a baby. They lived upstairs when I was literally come out of the womb. And she told me something 3 years ago that just startled me. She said, you know what? From the time you were born, you've always been the kind of person that, like you think, like you always stood up for what's right. If someone does wrong, you're going to stand for them, whether it's your mother, father, sister, or brother. I thought that was very interesting. So my path down, I kind of started out like that, if that makes sense to you. And so I moved into knowing where to go, how to get started. And I said, one day I could make a career out of this. I could actually make a career out of doing what I love, what I already am. Oh my God, that's just exhilarating to me. That's the short story.
Sounds pretty impressive. So how did you go about learning about motivation? Did you have somebody you followed? You read a lot? You back then it was only audio tapes primarily.
Yeah, well, my first motivation came from Earth, Wind, and Fire, a group called Earth, Wind, and Fire with Maurice White. And I was 13 walking down the street in Chicago one day. I was actually in a car going with a friend of mine who was about 13, and his cousin was taking us to another side of town to, I don't know, to visit a store or something, I don't know. And I heard this song, and it says, keep your head to the sky, and the clouds will tell you why. Master told me one day that I'd find peace in every way. But in search for the clues, wrong things I was about to do, but I will come back to the path. And I did some wrong things growing up as a child, okay? That song sparked my entire career. I even wrote about it in my book, The Reclining Master Awakened. That song sparked my entire career. I was able to give Earth, Wind, and Fire, Philip Beatty and those guys, a copy of that book. I dedicated that book to them. That's what inspired me. That song really got me on the path to thinking and let's see, wait a minute. It motivated me, inspired me, and it drove me to do greater and better things. That's where I got my start. Later, I began to read books and listen to Les Brown and Jim Rohn, who I did meet. Jim Rohn was my first big celebrity endorser. He didn't even know me, never saw me. He wasn't endorsing books at the time. People were misusing his name. I said, Mr. Rohn, why did you endorse my book? You never even saw me before. He said, because you have it. You're going places. I can tell. One of the greatest compliments I've ever had from the great Jim Rohn. And so from that point, I began to study. I met Jeffrey Combs, began to write. Like I told you before, wait a minute, I can do what I love doing and make money too. Yeah, that's it.
I think that's how I met you with Jeffrey Combs. I'm almost sure. More Heart Than Talent.
At More Heart Than Talent, 2008. That's Jim Rohn's last live seminar before he passed.
I was at that one. I got a picture taken with him. So yes, that's exactly where we met. Is the More Heart and Talent with Jeffrey Combs. Mark Victor Hansen was there, and a lot
great
of
guy.
other
Great guy.
A lot of other well-known. I mean,
Jerry Clark.
Absolutely, he lived not that far away, just a few miles. Went to his house a couple times there. Anyway, it was a neat time, and it's for me. Prior to that, I had been in. Only time I ever learned anything to improve myself was really how to improve the company I work for. And then all of a sudden I met with Myron Golden and Jeffrey Combs, and I can actually work on myself. And I spent 8 hours with those two people on a Saturday afternoon, and I was just so wide awake about a new thing, how to improve myself. Then I went to More Heart Than, that's where I met you, and it's just, everything blossomed from there. It's almost impossible to talk about how many things happened in such a short period of time.
Yes.
But I definitely remember meeting you there, and I definitely remember beginning a more than just a friendship. It was, everything at the beginning is an awareness. Okay, you kind of meet somebody, shake hands, and you get to know them a little bit, bump into them another day, bump into them. And it's just kind of things clicked. The chemistry was there. And we have a tendency to share things back and forth because, well, this is what I know. This is how things work for me. That's kind of neat. And so I learned from you, and it's just a lot of things going on.
Yeah, I think about those days. I have all those pictures with me, Jeffrey, Myron, me and Mark and Jim. We're all together talking. We're backstage talking. And that was a very enlightening. That was very powerful. I remember that. That's one of my favorite seminars, believe it or not. One of my favorites. Thank you for bringing that up. Memories.
Yeah,
I love that.
And of course, I hired Myron as my mentor, and I spent many a day up there in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Mechanicsburg, wherever he happened to be at, is
Right.
very near there. And I ran into Dr. Stan Harris, who was also on the show here
That's
not
my
long
buddy.
ago.
Yeah, that's my guy.
And he had a very difficult time with COVID. Took him almost a year to get over it, and he's just shellacking the world with positivity, as he always does.
As he always does, that big guy. Has he ever hugged you and pick you up?
Oh yes, yeah.
He's one of the 110th degree black belts in the world. I spoke with him the other day. That guy's amazing.
Yeah. But no, I had a chance to break a board with him and a few other things, and I just, again, those people that I met there, starting with More Heart Than Talent, have just been part of my life ever since.
Oh man, they're always a part of my life. I can contact him all the time. We talk all the time. Some of them.
So you said The Reclining Master Awakens. Tell us about that.
That book relates to that song I told you about. The Reclining Master Awakened 1 Minute to Healthy Esteem. It talks about how I went through my battles in life and how I really didn't love myself. Jeffrey Combs introduced me to that. I really didn't. I knew what self-confidence was. I have great self-confidence, but I didn't know what self-esteem meant. Here's a guy, myself, that is a wordsmith. I studied words, great word program. I knew words and know how to use the words and put them together and know the appropriateness of using the word. There's no sense in using a high sounding word when you're talking to an audience that's not in that vocabulary. No sense in using a Harvard vocabulary or Wall Street Journal vocabulary to the grocery store clerk. Okay. So anyway, I learned about words, but I didn't know that what self-esteem meant. Would you believe that? I never thought to look at self-esteem. And Jeffrey told me that. He said, man, you have great self-confidence, but man, that self-esteem thing. And when he told me that, like a light bulb went on. A light bulb literally went on in my head. I mean, quite literally. And I'll leave it at that. Wow, really? I don't love myself enough. It's not about me. So I took the time and did a deep dive over the next 2 or 3 months, over the next year. And I began to really understand what it means to love myself, man, to love you. See, if you don't love you, how can you love anyone else? Everything you're doing is based on your self-confidence and what you can do. But what about loving you? When you love you, you can do more to assist other people. So I developed a statement. Self-esteem reaches the level of being. I am that I am in you. I am who I am, and that's enough. I am that what you are. So I wrote the book, Reclining Master Awaken. And I talked about in that book, one of my favorite stories is how when I was a little boy, I would watch the old Lon Chaney movies, The Wolfman. Remember that movie, The Wolfman? Lon Chaney? And my siblings used to scare me with that and put me in the closet just playing the game. That scared the living daylights out of a little boy. And I thought, I was so afraid of the Wolfman, I became that in my mind. Maybe I'm that. It's a great story. And when I woke up and realized that's a self-esteem issue, and I realized that I've been carrying that all my life, that fear from a childhood, being put in the closet and told I was Wally Wolf or Wolfman. They actually told me that. And they were just playing with me. But be careful what you tell kids. There's a part of me that believed that. And I lived this so much of this fear, but I had this great self-confidence. I can bust through anything. That confidence carried me. When I learned what self-esteem was, then the game was on. The game is on. Self-esteem is the most important thing to us. Because it's about who we are, how you feel about yourself. I don't care what you say to somebody else. If you don't feel good about yourself, it's all a pile of brown stuff. And BS ain't nothing but chewed up grass. Reclining Master is primarily based on that, how I awakened with that song, Keep Your Head to the Sky. Master told me one day that I'd find peace in every way. But in search for the clues, wrong things I was bound to do. And he said, keep your head to the sky. The clouds will tell you why. They're telling you, keep it up. The master will awaken. So the master awakened in me, and I want to share that with the world. It's a very heartfelt book. I left no stones unturned. There's nothing I'm embarrassed about with it. I let it all out.
And self-esteem is not just a minor problem in life. It can lead to a lot of mental issues, depression, anxiety because of that. And that affects your health in general. You live with it long enough, you have ulcers, it's something, as you say, we don't know what it is until we study it a little bit. Some people sort of love themselves naturally, but if you get put in the closet, what else is going to happen to you? That's kind of a traumatic experience. And so some of these PTSD like incidents, it's not a major one, but it's enough when you're young enough to really have a trauma. And as a result, it can affect you mentally and physically more so than more ways than you would even think.
That's right. That's right. And that really affected me. It really did. And I didn't know this. I didn't know that the temper tantrum, the this and that. I said, wait a minute. That's like the movie you saw years ago. It came to me. But when I was able to open up and accept the fact that I didn't know what self-esteem was, my mind opened, I was able to receive it. Wait a minute. I did a deep dive into myself. Man, I cried for days, Red. I cried for days. But you know what? I became like a little child again. The sunshine seemed very joyous to me. The blossoms on the trees. I would walk through the park every day, and my family at home. I would spend hours in the park and just enjoy life. Forget about any accomplishment, what I had and didn't have. Just enjoy who I was for what I was. And after that, the magic started to happen. Yeah, boy. Then the magic happened.
Didn't you tell me even now today you go out and walk in the park and just kind of enjoy the sunshine and fresh air?
Yes, I did it this morning. I didn't go to the park. I sat in the room and spent 2 hours with myself. I'm going out today to do the same thing. Just suck it all in, regardless of anything else going on in your life. Just suck in what is, because you live in a sea of abundance, but we don't appreciate that. We're so thrown off by everything we see on television, on the internet, and everything about the material things, even money. We forget that prosperity and abundance, happiness. See, money can't buy happiness. It will not. Nothing will buy happiness. It is a joy and a tool by itself. It's important that we keep that, because that, along with money and good health, is prosperity.
Well, I think it's almost time for a commercial break. But when we come back, let's talk about how you help people transition so that they can become better. So why don't you give a little thought to that? And Dr. JACALYN, if you're about ready to begin our commercial break, great. If not, we'll just keep talking here until something happens. So she may have just taken a minute break. So anyway, why don't we start transitioning now? And you help people break out of their funk, for lack of a better word, but their existence, and make them shine, make them better people. Let's talk a little bit about that. How do you help people? How do people find you, and how do you help them?
First question, there's two questions. How do people find me? You find me, I'm an exclusive guy. I'm very exclusive. It's like, look, like you find Toyota dealerships everywhere. You'll find Chryslers. Okay. I look at myself like a Rolls Royce. I don't say that lightly, and I don't say that at any jab at anyone else, or I'm better than someone else. I look at myself like a Rolls Royce, and I'll tell you why. Okay. I pride myself on not being like the crowd or in the crowd. Okay. On being different. And here's why what I do is different. I do what you call mindset mastery technology. And what that is, everything is mind. Everything starts with our mind. Let me give you a good example today. I looked at my stock portfolio and I saw a stock that I love that had basically went down from 2,000 shares to 165 shares. It was a lower price stock, but it's a good company. And I said, wait, whoa, what happened here? So I called TD Ameritrade, the brokerage company. What's going on with this stock? Oh, what happened was there was what you call a realignment. I think they call it a realignment, where they take the stock quantity you have down 10%, and they raise the price up 10%, if that makes sense to you. So it looks like you lost something, but you didn't. The amount of money you had is still there, value, but the number of stock is different because they raised it from cents up to dollars, if that makes sense. Anyway, it didn't make any sense to me. So I realized, I got in the shower and said, wait a minute, that's the way life is. You didn't lose anything. Something shifted. And because it appeared to be different, you didn't look at the numbers. You didn't lose anything. They just shifted around. That made sense. And I said, wow, that's the way life is. That's the way life is. Let me explain that to people. Okay. In life, we judge by appearances, when all there is sometimes a little shifts. And we judge by the appearances of losing a job or not getting the people in our network marketing business. We go by the appearance, but we don't realize that that's just a shift. And what we do is we judge by the appearance, we act on the appearance, we start having to worry, fear, and doubt, and then we manifest what we thought. Instead of taking a deep breath. Now I have the ability to bounce back quick. I bounce back from that really quickly because I'm well trained. So I instruct my clients and how to develop a mindset to where they can bounce back quick. It's okay to get knocked down, but you're going to start getting up quicker and quicker and quicker. You're going to start seeing your results changing what you do. It's all about mindset. I'm really deep into mindset, and I give exercises you can do right now that can improve your mindset. Little by little, it works, and I guarantee it works if you work it.
Guarantee that doesn't come very often.
If you work it, if you do it, I don't care if it takes you 10 hours. If you do, I have certain techniques. If you do, you're going to feel the difference. I'll guarantee that if you do it, you'll feel a difference. Anybody will. Now, to the degree, that's on you. That's up to your time and what you do. But I guarantee you the glimpse of it. Once you get one glimpse of it, you can kick the door in. And this is for anybody, anytime. We all do it. One thing we all have, we all have a mind. We all have access to all the abundance in the universe. We really do. Now, whether you access it or how much you access it, that's up to you and your situation and how you believe.
It's interesting that you use the example of your stock and the manipulation of price and quantity and things. There was no net loss. There was a gain, probably a very positive gain in the long haul. And with our minds, things happen to us, and sometimes we don't process them for what they are. It's something that happened. It's not, it's like the example of I failed the test. Well, it's not I failed the test. The test was failed by me, but I'm not a failure. It's a way of looking at it. And so when you start looking at, well, how can you look at, that happened? Well, things happen in life. Don't know why, but what positive can come out of it? What lesson learned can we get out of that? And that's one of the biggest things I've learned in personal growth and self-improvement is things happen. What can you learn from it? What can you tweak and make it better the next time? And can you recognize it the next time it happens so you can be more proactive? Or it hits, okay, fine, it didn't work. Let me try something else. But again, it's a mindset. You have to have that openness and awareness in order to make change in your life. Otherwise, it's I'm not going to say impossible, very difficult and very slow.
That's right. You have to have your mind in a place where you understand. It's one thing I do. One of my techniques I use is what's called visioning. See, a lot of people don't get this. I know a lot of professionals that don't get this. Hold on to your seat with this one. Your vision precedes your thoughts. You don't think of something first. You have a vision of it first. Okay. And one question I like to ask people, okay, do birds fly because they have wings, or do they fly because they thought about or had a vision of flying and develop wings? See, vision is very, very important. My first book, Clear Vision, Your Road to Riches, talk about how vision is very important. When you see something, then you get a thought. Then you get the ideas and the actions coming to you. It's not the other way around. So if we use our minds in a way where we realize that, wait a minute, where did the thought come from? How did I get these thoughts? Let me think about this. Well, the book called Think and Grow Rich, get title. I have a book called Click and Grow Rich, get title. Now, what do they mean by that? Before you think something, Red, you have to have a vision, period. Many people don't know that. They don't know that. And the vision gives you the thoughts. The vision comes first, then the thoughts, then the ideas for the thoughts, then you put it into action, then you see the physical car. They were all thoughts first. No, they were visions first. So I'm all about mindset adjustment, mindset mastery to corporate people, individuals. And I really dig deep into showing them every day. See, my job is this, Red. I like to get results. I want to show you on the first call, the first time, do this. Tell me the result. And I'm so thrilled that people call me and say, Tamir, it worked. I got a result. I got a result. I want to show you this. If it works here, it'll work here. It's going to take more work and time here. Doesn't matter. But it's the same principle. And that's why I developed mindset mastery technology to propel and to turbocharge your road to success in whatever you're doing. And that success defined by you. I do not guarantee what you're going to get. No, but I can guarantee what you're going to get. Like a contradiction, it's not. I know what you're going to get. If you do this, you get this. If you do more of this, you're going to get more of that.
The mind is a remarkable thing. And you talk about vision. I have a good friend here in the Houston area, and he uses hypnotism as a tool to ameliorate PTSD, particularly for veterans coming back. And he uses it when you take a look at the vision and you transform it from a color vision to a black and white, or you fade it out, or you look at it going down there's a lot of different things. And he goes through this on the stage. And he says, think of, just close your eyes and he goes through okay, now take and rotate it, so it moves off to the left. And take a look at it on the screen as if it was an iPad. Look at it as if it was your phone. And so he's doing different sizes, but that same vision, we just perceive it differently. And when you look at something that's in color and all of a sudden you tone it down to black and white, that's the same picture, but a different mindset of looking at that picture. And it really does change the mind. It's amazing how fluid the mind can actually flow from one aspect of the exact same vision to something else, because you see things and feel things differently.
Yeah, and it's like, how do kids learn? Kids learn by nursery rhymes and pictures and things like that. Well, what happens when we get older, we're told that's childish stuff, put that away. No, contrary, don't put it away. Just adjust how you do it and change how you do it. Don't put that away. That's the problem. That's a statement in the Bible. I'm not a Bible scholar. I'm a spiritual person. I don't consider myself religious. I'm spiritual, okay? So I'm not speaking as a scholar in the Bible. I like something that is reported that Jesus said, who I personally, I love reading about Christ. And something that he said, be like a little child. Be like a little child. What that's telling you is a whole lot. That's telling you a whole lot, okay? Be like a little child. Many people run past that. He was telling you something. You got to have that childlike vision, that joy, that knowing. See, a child doesn't know it's not going to eat. A child comes to Red or Tamir or the good doctor here and say they want something, they expect to get it. They think we're God, we're going to take care of everything. Well, that's where you got to look at the creation. You got to go for it, knowing regardless of the period, it's going to happen. This is called quiet confidence. And this is what it takes. This is why people like Bill Gates do what they do, Elon Musk or Oprah Winfrey, or people that are millionaires, people that are lesser millionaires, that have less. This is what they do. Whether they know it or not. They had quiet confidence, believe me. You cannot attain that level of success monetarily without quiet confidence and knowing, like a little kid. They didn't have no idea they can do it. Einstein had no idea he can do it. He's like a little kid. You want to be like a little kid. You want to know it. What if you fail? So what? Who cares? I can't fail. What if you die? I'll just be dead. I didn't fail. You'll never convince me that I do not have my goals now. I didn't say gonna get. You can't convince me I don't have it now. Because I don't have it now, that means that I haven't figured out how to let it come to me. It doesn't mean I don't have it. So Mindset Mastery Technology is a mind-shifting program that I use with people, and I really get deep into it, and my job is to get them to get results. I want a result week to week to week to show you that you can build on this. It's up to you. If it's to be, it's up to me. And I will drag you to it. Yeah, great.
Who do you typically find are the people that respond the best to your methodology?
Business professionals, people in the network marketing and direct sales industry in particular, and people in self-help. Here's why. Those people as a whole, real estate people and stuff like that, but as a whole, those are the learners, those who want to know, those who want to investigate the mind, body, soul connection. Those who want to improve themselves, those who want to be better, those who are willing to put up their dollars up front to say, I want this. If you want something from the store, you'll put your money up and buy it. You want a new television, you'll buy it. You want to go on a vacation, you'll buy it. Those people are more apt to spend money on themselves. That crowd, entrepreneurs, in particular, direct sales network marketing, that is the biggest field, the most prospering field as far as hunger and drive and willing to listen and willing to go forward, because they're hungry, they want something. They begin to read the books and listen to the Reds and the Tamirs. They begin to say, wait a minute. They read the Think and Grow Rich, and they want to know, how can I do this? It's not enough to just read those books. I'll tell you something. Most of those books, even Think and Grow Rich, they don't give you techniques, and they're not supposed to give you techniques, because when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. For instance, Think and Grow Rich talk about sex transmutation. Remember that? How to transmute sex? How those 500 people, they did that? Well, all didn't know how to do it, but they did it. But those who knew how to do it were more powerful. There's a way to transmute the sexual energy into creative energy. And I have techniques like that I've learned from the yogis, from ancients, that I work with. I rarely give those out. I rarely do that, special situations, but it's very important to know how to do it. Think and Grow Rich don't tell you how to do that. And he wasn't supposed to. I have techniques to do that. I know how to do that. I do it all the time and it works. So anyway, in short, that's what I do.
And it's interesting, you talk about some of these older techniques that have been around for a long time that we just don't get exposure to. In my particular part, breathing, we all breathe. We breathe all the time. Yet there are several ways of breathing that most people have no idea in the world. No. And they're called pranayamas. They come over from India and that part of the world. And they're very, very effective. But again, our exposure, like the mindset method, is a word for modality of how our minds actually work. Yeah, we all think, but maybe we don't all think with the best efficiency and in the best direction. We kept rehashing the same things over and over again, and we really don't move out of our comfort zone, so to speak. Is that fair?
Yeah. No, Red, you hit it on the nail. We talked about maybe before mudras and all that. I don't know if you remember. Yodi mudra, Maha mudra. We talked about that before. I don't know if you remember or not, years ago. And most people, Red, we don't think. We're actually playing a program looped in our brain. We're not using our brain, actually, most of the time. We're playing a loop. What we've been taught, what we thought, what we read, we're just playing a loop, and we think we're thinking, and the brain gives it back to you. Well, when you go through certain processes, I have certain processes. By the way, I learned that from the yogis. We go through certain processes and processes, however you want to say it. You learn how to use the brain. See, dolphins, they say, use 20% of the brain. I say they say. I didn't study that. 20% of the brain. I believe it. Humans, they say, use 7 to 10% of the brain. Well, with humans, they don't use it. Most of us are just robots. Whatever we've been told, we do it, we build on it, and we don't know we're being programmed, and the brain is not used. When you first start doing some of the techniques I have, your brain is going to say, I don't know you. Who are you? I mean, what are you talking to me for? I've been in 50 years, 30 years, 25 years. You never talked to me before. What do you want from me? It's going to tighten up on you and look at you. It's like you living by somebody, Red, for 50 years, a neighbor. Neighbor never spoke to you, never smiled to you. One day that neighbor speaks to you, you're going to be like, oh, what's going on here? Well, the brain is the same way. And once it gets used to and realize that, hey, I love you, it's okay, it'll relax. You'll actually see your brain flower and open up. Now it's ready to receive and begin to work for you. That's the difference in people like Einstein and people you admire. That's the difference. Whether they knew it or not, they allow their brains to be receptive, okay, to something else. You have a brain, you have a glob of this. Sometimes there's no difference in what we see in the brain and the glob of this cow manure.
But
until you start to get that brain to work, it's going to be like that.
But when you allow your brain, you have a problem. It's been there forever. And all of a sudden, a guy like Dr. Tamir says, here's what I would do with that problem. It's a solution. It's a non-salesman solution. This is how I've had success. All of a sudden, I got that same problem. I bet that would work for me. And the mind is open automatically because it sees the potential success and the knowledge that it has worked for other people. And so you have a problem, you have a solution. It's a matter of getting the two together without having all that other hyperdrive and drama associated with so many other things in life. Hey, I got a solution for your problem. You're interested, great. More than happy to chat with you about it. And I think that's kind of what you're looking at with the mindset. It's there. There are a lot of problems that people gloss over because we just kind of get in that same rut. But then all of a sudden one day says, I bet that would work for me. And that's kind of how that is. That kind of way you see things?
Yeah. And that's what we do. We say that'll work for me, but here's the problem with that. That's true. That's the initial phase, and that's very good. That's very good. We all start out like that. Now here's the next step. There's another step though. How do I get the brain to accept that? It's easy to be motivated and inspired, but we're talking about transformation. How do you transform it? There are techniques and people that have ways of doing it. There are several ways to do that. Okay, you can do that. You have to do something different. It's not enough to just say, I got tuberculosis. Okay, I got tuberculosis, drink this and drink that. You may need a further treatment to help that out. Okay, you may need a professional to help you. Okay, this is where people like me and you come in at. Okay, it's not enough to keep telling people, here's what you need to do. This sounds good. I like it. I like the idea. Now, what are you going to do with it? I'll give you an example. Say someone say they want to be a billionaire. You do? What would you do with the money? I want to be a billionaire. What would you do with the money? And here's the exercise I want people to do. Get a check ledger. Go on Google somewhere, download a check ledger. It's free. Download it. I want you to put $2,000 in that check ledger. The next day, I want you to spend every bit of it, every bit of the money. Then I want you to double it after you spend it to $4,000. You're going to get to $1 billion before the month is out. I'll guarantee you. Every day you're going to spend all that money, Red. It's going to become more and more difficult to spend all that money. More and more difficult. Then you're going to be like, wait a minute, do I really want this? Do I really want $1 billion? So am I prepared with what's going to come after that? Am I prepared for the mental, social, spiritual responsibility of having that kind of money? Am I prepared for it? So when people give you ideas like that, are you prepared to do what it takes to get to that point? It may sound good, the idea. How do I get to that point? This is what a lot of books miss. A lot of teachers miss. They miss that. I missed it for years. I missed that for years. But if you keep striving, it's going to come to you. Some kind of way, sooner or later, you're going to get it. If you keep striving for it. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. It may be a book. It may be, I happen to be a yogi. I studied with the self-realization with the yogis. Okay. I happen to be a student of Kriya Yoga for years. Okay. And studied at the University of Metaphysics. So I've been on the path for a long time, but I discovered that it's not enough just to talk about it, write about it. How can I help this person? What tangible gift, what tangible tool you can give them? I have tangible tools with everything I talk about, or I won't talk about it.
We're sort of here at the end of the program. I'm going to give you a short while here. How do people reach? If somebody's interested right now, or they're watching this thing on podcast down the road, or they're watching it on YouTube, how do people get in touch with you? What's the best way for people to reach you?
You can reach me at Tamir at esteement.com. That's TAMIR at ESTEEMENT.com. That's the email. Also, dynamic you are dynamic YOU at gmail.com. You reach me there and say hi to me. You saw me on the show. You'll get a free book called Click and Grow Rich. I'll give you that. And then you can also go to my Book Me page, okay? And you can sign up for a 20 to 30 minute no fee coaching consultation, no obligation, okay? And I will walk through you, give you a sample of mindset technology mastery, the process we go through, and I will give you a tangible tool that you can use and sample. You can sample what I do, and within 24 hours, you can report to me the results you got. That's a very powerful promise. It is, but I can't promise you'll do it. That I can't promise, but I promise you, I'll give you two gifts. You get a free book, and you go to my Book Me page. I'll give you 20 to 30 minutes, no fee coaching, depending on my schedule and the time you pick, okay? And I will give you that one-on-one, okay? All I ask you to do is bring an open mind, bring a pencil, and relax.
Let's go over your email again, Tamir at esteemment, that's ESTEEM.
ENT.com.
ENT.
Yeah.
Okay, so esteement.com.
Or dynamic you, the YOU at gmail.com.
Okay. So dynamic, DYNAMIC, YOU at gmail.com.
Right.
That's the best way to go. Well, Tamir, this has been a marvelous time getting a chance to chat again in person, so to speak, virtually. And something we haven't done in a while, usually just been on the phone. But
right.
Thank you so very much for coming today. And I appreciate you being a very active participant on USA Global TV and Radio Network. And I'm going to bid you adieu and get back to Dr. JACALYN and close out our show because I have to run over to another studio. I got another show coming up here in about 15 minutes. So
real quick, I just gave you my Book Me page. Did you see it in the chat?
Yeah, HTTPS. So
yeah, that's what they come and they can book the free consultation.
Okay. So book me, BOOKME.NAME name /Tamir Qadree, TAMIR Qadre. Again, bookme.name /Tamir, TAMIR QADREE, Tamir Qadree. So
those slots are limited, so move on. They're very limited. So
okay. Thanks again, Tamir. Really enjoyed it. Take
God
care.
bless.
And Red O'Loughlin here, signing off with Dr. JACALYN for today. And I have a very quick run I have to make over to another studio, and I'm going to let people know that in just a very few minutes, I'm going to be on the USA Global TV and Radio Network Talking Heads show. I'll be doing a solo presentation on post-pandemic health. And in this particular one, it's normally 6 to a series, but we crammed so much information into the first 6 episodes that I thought the real thing that people want to know is, what can I do now? And what am I doing? What makes sense? So I'm going to take it very slow, easy, right down the road and say, this is what I'm doing for post-pandemic health. And these are things that are easy for you to do, not very time consuming, not very involved, but it does involve changing your lifestyle, changing your habits a little bit, but it doesn't cost very much other than your time and your attention. So Dr. JACALYN, I'm going to bid adieu, and I want to catch you, I guess, in the
All
next
right.
studio.
I'll see you in the other studio. Bye, Red. Thank you.
Bye now.
And once again, thank you to each and every one of you for doing what you do, which is watching, listening, letting other people know that we're here. We keep growing and growing, and my heart is full. Thank you again. Our next show is coming up, as you just heard, Talking Heads. Please go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio, and you can look at the playlist and see all the shows that we offer each and every week. For example, this show will be in the playlist, The Wise Ones, and Red's show for the next hour will be under Talking Heads 2022 and Talking Heads Red O'Loughlin. Thank you again. We will see you momentarily.